7 parts to being a self-employed estate agent. Let's give some people some advice on what we've learned over the last 4 years, which has been a crazy ride.
I think we've learnt more than 7 things, but we're only going to give 7 things
7
in
topics.
this series.
Yeah, 7 topics. But I think when we talk to a lot of estate agents that are thinking going self-employed, and even some of the ones that are self-employed, they typically ask something around these questions.
Yep.
So that's why this YouTube playlist is there, and that's why I think it's worthwhile creating it. So number 1, first part of this playlist, why do it? Why did you personally do it?
I wanted to become a self-employed agent because throughout my career, I'd always felt like the black sheep in a manager's meeting. I always felt like decisions were being made not on my behalf or not with my best interest or my client's best interests in mind. And after gaining a certain amount of experience in those meetings and those places, I genuinely felt like I could run a business better than the people who were running the businesses that I was working for. Call that arrogant, call that self-assured, call it ignorant, call it whatever you like. But I had that feeling that the decisions were being made weren't the right decisions and I could make better decisions than those people. So I had to do it myself because those people were never going to put me in a position to make those decisions for them.
Have you made any decisions since then, running your own business, that you now look back and go, oh, that's why they did that? Or has everything been as you initially thought when you were employed?
I think we've stayed true to a decision-making process, which is it right for the client?
Yeah.
Before, is it right for us? Before, is it right for our profit and loss? Is it right for the client? Which, as you become bigger and more corporate and you have shareholders and you have investors, it's almost impossible to make that decision. Mm-hmm. I was never too blind to understand why decisions were being made in the businesses that I worked for.
Yeah.
They were being made for profitability, they were being made for their own best interest and the best interest of running that business. Just so happened that I didn't have a vested interest in how that business was run. It was only I had an interest in me and my clients, not really how much money the shareholders took or how much value that business was building.
Yeah.
So I always had that understanding, but I never agreed with it or I thought it could get done better. Running a business, there's always hard decisions to make, but I do feel like if you stick to that core principle, is it right for our clients, you might be impacted on a profitability basis short term, but long term, we call it karma business.
Yeah.
It always comes back.
Do the right thing and then stick true to that.
Yeah.
And in part 7 of these 7 playlist videos, we're going to talk about some of the direct avocado lessons and maybe where karma's played a part. So that'll be interesting. I think for me that I had that key kind of decision. I actually thought I got really into like podcasts and self-development episodes and really trying to sort of understand how to be a higher performing individual. And while I was doing all of that research and lessons, being employed at a high kind of senior position, I always thought, right, I need to start like this side hustle. That was the thought process, was make a side hustle. What was it going to be? And I was kind of working my way through that. And then ultimately the redundancy happened. And that kind of kicked me because I'd already had that mindset about making something my own. I'd already asked multiple times for some sort of shareholding in that company that I'd been at for a long period of time. 16 years is a long part of your life. But that wasn't there, my right to take, and it was up to them whether they wanted to hand it over or for me to buy it, and it wasn't an option. So when the redundancy happened, I was already kind of, I guess, mentally set on that focus that, right, I need to create my own thing. And that really powered me into thinking, take back the control. Don't let anyone else have control of a career that you'd built over a decade, getting towards 2 decades. It is now 21 years in the game. And that was the big driver for me. So it was take back the control, so that I can no longer have someone impact my professional life or my career. And at the same time, having a young daughter, thinking that obviously I'd probably have another child at some point, was someone said to me when I was having a conversation in between the redundancy and starting Avocado, was talking about potentially going into his business and launching another office. He said, I'm looking for someone young and hungry like you so that I can take some time out of the business, because I regret not spending much time with my kids.
Yeah.
I've told you this story
Yeah.
before. And I was like,
The young bit was a nice
I'm not
compliment.
that guy. Yeah, grey hair, losing a little bit. But I'm not that guy. Yeah, okay, if you want to call me young, I'll take it.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be that guy that builds your business and mine, because I was gonna be a shareholder within it, and not spend any time with the kids.
Yeah.
So there was two parts really. There was control and control of time, I guess. Control of finances, control of time was ultimately. And I think that for people that are on the fence about whether they go self-employed or they carry on that career into their 60s and 70s as a career-long estate agent, is control of time, control of money. Do you want it? And if you do take it, it's risky.
Yep.
You know, that's the ultimate
Yep.
part of it, which we'll cover in these parts. But do you ultimately want to have the buck stop with you, like you were feeling in those boardroom meetings? I want to make this decision.
Yeah.
I don't want someone else making it for me, effectively.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the key to it. And that person, who will remain nameless, who is a very, very good estate agent, runs a brilliant business, was absolutely right in his recruiting process, ironically. It was just that sentence clicks with you to say, hold on a minute, for want of a better word, he wants to use me to give himself a better life.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he would have paid you very, very well on the back of it. So there's a give-get with it. But at the same time, it's that click in your head moment of, hold on a minute, the business owner gets to make the decisions here, and the business owner gets the right side of it. He's worked for years to get there, though.
Yeah.
And that's the key to it. It's not an overnight success.
Yeah. And I think for an estate agent that's been building that career and climbing that ladder, and it's a long ladder to climb in agency, but sometimes you can do it very quickly, and it's very fruitful as well.
Yep.
I mean, I remember saying to people at like 22 years old, I'd started at 19, I think I was earning 55, maybe 60 grand at that point, and I'd started at 12 grand. So in the space of like 3 years, to have gone from a 12 grand salary to like a 50 plus salary, outside of being a professional footballer, I didn't feel there was a career that you could climb that.
Not with the
salary.
lack of qualifications that you, well, we
Zero.
both have, essentially. I must be a better negotiator than you. I started on 14.
2 years later.
2 years later. Yeah, 2 years worth of inflation.
Yeah. 2003, it's tough times.
Yeah. I'm an 05 guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. It was that and recruitment, sort of traditional sales careers where people will take a punt on you, will make a loss on you on the basis that there's a they can just kick you out after 6 months if you don't show the kind of green shoots of development. And then in 18 months' time, you can turn around and be earning £60,000, £70,000. It's why it's attractive to people.
I think sometimes people then get trapped.
Yes.
I felt trapped.
Yes.
So I felt I earned a lot of money. I'm in this employed ladder. Got frustrated. Fell out of love with the industry as well at points in my career. Fell out of love with the business, but felt ultimately trapped that I had mortgage, bills.
Yeah.
Couldn't move. Couldn't change careers. Wasn't going to leave and go to a different agency, although I did leave at one point in my early career through ultimate frustrations for about 24 hours and then regretted it and came back. So I did stay in the same agency the whole time, but felt trapped. And I think that's a feeling that me and you knew that we wanted to bring to the UK industry of estate agents and say, well, actually, there is this career path, but there's also this side move. And this side move is if you feel you've got the skills, ability, knowledge as an estate agent and you want someone to help you with marketing and running a business, well, come and do this, come and do self-employed, come and do Avocado, and there's other models out there obviously, and then you can side move. You do have to take some steps back financially, you do have to roll your sleeves back up and build your reputation back within your own business, but you've got control of your time and your finances and you don't feel trapped anymore.
If you're the estate agent who, like both of us when we were employed, had written a business plan for a soft play, a cafe, wondered how it is that inventory clerks make more money than lettings managers, EPC surveyors, all the weird little jobs that come off the side of it, then you should be listening to this.
And ultimately, would you now say you are unemployable?
I think I was unemployable when I was employed. And I'd like to put on record my sorry to the people who did employ me. I did try hard to be a better person, but I was probably very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm even more unemployable now.
Yeah, I'd say we are both unemployable now. And I think all of the Avocado partners within a very short space of time would also say the same thing. And that's why I do it. That's why I do it, to get to that stage. So that's part one. Part two, if you've watched all the way to the end, is going to be on who can't do it. So if you're on the fence, let's talk about who can't do it in the next episode.